How's it going, Talk Sports family? And welcome to an episode of the Talk Sports Show with Alec Pecado. Let's get right into it. The first topic I will be previewing today and covering is the previewing the North Florida Ospreys and Bellarmine Knights basketball game. So the UNF's last four games, they have won all four of them, and here's who they have beaten. They started with a win at FGCU, 78-58. Then they beat JU in the River City Rumble, 82-74. Then they beat Kennesaw State. 84-75. And they beat Queens University of Charlotte, 91-75. So they're 4-0 in their last four games, and they're 11-9 overall. And their leading scorer is Chaz Lanier with 16 points per game, 50%, almost 51% from the field, 81.1% from the free throw line, and 45% from three. And Bellarmine in their last four games is 0-4, 4-16 overall. They lost to Austin Peay 68-84, lost to Lipscomb 70-81, lost to North Alabama 53-69, and lost to Central Arkansas 57-59. Their leading scorer is Ben Johnson, 12.5 points per game, field goal percentage of 39.5%, free throw percentage of 82.1%, and three-point percentage of 38.8%, which is almost 39%. And for UNF, I think this is going to be, I think they should win this game very, very handedly and easily. But it is ASUN Conference, and weird things tend to happen in the ASUN. The next thing I'm going to cover is my college basketball upset picks. My first upset pick today for tonight's slate of college basketball, we had an okay night last night. We got one upset pick right. Neither of our free plays of the night worked, but we're back at it today. Fresh slate of games, fresh slate of picks, including a parlay that you will hear in a minute. But my first upset is Wagner plus 2.5 to upset Merrimack. I had Wagner as an upset pick. I believe it was last week, but it didn't work. But we're going back to the well again with Wagner. We're going to try him again for the second time in the span of 2 weeks. I like this matchup for Wagner. I think they can pull the upset. My second upset is Arizona State plus 8.5 to upset Oregon. This is a Pac-12 game, and it's the final year of the Pac-12 as we know it, with all the Pac-12 teams in it. But here's what I'm going to say. I think Arizona State can pull the upset here because it's Pac-12 after dark, and wacky things happen with Pac-12 after dark. So I like Arizona State here to pull the upset. My third upset is Drexel plus 1.5 to upset Towson. I think this spread is way too low here. I think Drexel should be the one favored. They've had a really good season. And I don't understand the hate the disrespect they're getting from the bettors. And my fourth upset is FGCU plus 2 to upset Lipscomb. Lipscomb's been on upset alert before, and they've They've been there 3 times. They're 2-1. Twice they've avoided the upset, and once they've been upset. And I think they could be on upset alert tonight, +2 against FGCU. And that is why I like the upset here. I don't trust Lipscomb to cover the point spread here. My 4th upset is Northern Kentucky +5 to upset Purdue Fort Wayne. This upset is just, it explains itself. Northern Kentucky's the better team here. And I think they should be favored in this game, but they're not. So therefore, I think Northern Kentucky is going to pull the upset. My 5th upset is FIU +7 to upset Western Kentucky. Conference USA game. I love the upset in this spot here. This is my 6th upset, correction. It's my final upset of the night. FIU +7 to upset Western Kentucky. As I was saying, Conference USA game. I trust FIU more to either cover the spread here or pull the upset. And my free play of the night is North Florida -3 to cover against Bellarmine. And now my parlay for college basketball tonight is, it's a 3-leg parlay. The first leg is North Florida -3.5. The second leg is FGCU +2.5. And the third leg is Wright State -145 to win. And I put $6 down on it. And if you get 2 out of 3 right, you win $58. So that is my parlay. Again, it is North Florida -3.5, Florida Gulf Coast +2.5, and Wright State -145 to win. Now here's the first half of my NFL mock draft. At number 1, the Bears. I still can see them taking a quarterback. I don't want them to, but I think they're probably going to, and it's probably going to be Caleb Williams out of USC. The Commanders at 2. They also need quarterback. And I think they take Drake May out of North Carolina. The Patriots at 3. They're also going to take quarterback. And I think this is where, I know some people are going to say Jaden Daniels should not go this high in the draft, but I think if May and Caleb Williams are off the board, I think this is where the Patriots go with Jaden Daniels. At 4, this is easy for the Cardinals. They get a layup here. They will take Marvin Harrison Jr., wide receiver out of Ohio State. The Chargers at 5 are going to take tight end. They need, I know what everybody's going to say, they need another wide receiver. They just got Jim Harbaugh as their coach. I think they're going to take tight end Brock Bowers out of Georgia. The Giants at 6. It's their lucky day. Both the offensive linemen they want are still on the board, and I think they're going to take Alu Fashanu out of Penn State. The Titans at number 7 take Joe Alt, offensive lineman, out of Notre Dame. At 8, the Falcons are going to take wide receiver Malik Neighbors out of LSU. They have Kyle Pitts. They have Drake London. They don't have that number 2 receiver behind Drake London. And I think taking Malik Neighbors here is a good pick. The Bears at number 9 take offensive lineman J.C. Latham out of Alabama. They need offensive line. They could go Dallas Turner here, but I'm mocking them in offensive line. At 10, the Jets are going to take Taisi Falanga out of Oregon State. They need offensive line help too if they want to keep Rodgers around for more than one more year. The Vikings at 11. Here's where the third wide receiver goes off the board. And I think it's going to be Brian Thomas Jr. out of LSU. I would have them taking a corner here, but I have my top 2 corners slipping a little bit. So I think Brian Thomas goes here. The Broncos at 12 take Kool-Aid McKinstry out of Alabama. I like this pick for them. Here's another run on corner. So the Raiders are going to take cornerback too. They need somebody opposite Nate Hobbs. And I think that's going to be Nate Wiggins. The Saints, they get their choice of Dallas Turner, Leatu Latu, Jared Verse, Chop Robinson. I think they're going to go Dallas Turner here to pair with Carl Granderson, Brian Brisset. So Dallas Turner. And then so 1 through 15, that's 1 through 14. 15 through 32 will be the next batch of all my NBA upset picks, and there's only 2 of them tonight. I have the New York Knicks +2 to upset the Denver Nuggets. I picked this upset before, but it was with a different team. It was with the Magic, and the Magic actually pulled it off. So I'm going back to the well again and putting the Nuggets on upset alert because I think Denver could be on upset alert. And my second upset in the NBA tonight is the Washington Wizards +7.5 to upset the Utah Jazz. The Jazz are not particularly the best team in the NBA, but I think the Wizards can pull off the upset here. And my free play of the night in the NBA, and this is self-explanatory, is the Boston Celtics -6.5 tonight. So again, that is the Knicks +2 to upset the Nuggets, the Wizards +7.5 to upset the Jazz, and free play of the night is the Celtics -6.5. And now here is the second half of my NFL mock. So at 15, the Colts are going to take wide receiver Rome Odunze out of Washington. They need another wide receiver because I think they're going to resign Michael Pittman, but I'm not 100% sure because he's going to want the bag, and somebody might give him the bag that's on another team. So Rome Odunze, Seattle. They are going to take defensive lineman Jazan Newton out of Illinois. Now, Seattle does need help on the defensive line. And what is Newton? A defensive lineman. I think this is the perfect pick for Seattle. Jacksonville. They're going to need wide receiver because I don't think they're going to re-sign Calvin Ridley. And I like a big body possession receiver like Keon Coleman. And I think Keon Coleman would fit perfect in that offense in Jacksonville. Cincinnati at 18. And ladies and gentlemen, I will be talking about the Bengals offseason here in a little bit. So this is a preview of what I think, one of the things I'll talk about. So I'm going to have them taking cornerback Terrion Arnold out of Alabama. The Rams at 19. Do they take, what do they need? They need offensive line. They need edge. They don't need quarterback. I think they take Quinion Mitchell, defensive back, out of Toledo. Steelers at number 20 take cornerback. No, they're going to take offensive line. They're going to take offensive lineman Jordan Morgan out of Arizona. This is the earliest I've mocked Morgan to a team in the draft. The Dolphins at 21. They're going to take offensive lineman Armarius Mims out of Georgia. The Eagles. What do they like to take? Well, they need offensive line, and I think they're going to take the best center in the draft because their center, Jason Kelce, just retired. And that is Jackson Powers Johnson out of Oregon. Houston at 23. I'm going to give them edge rusher Liatu Latu out of UCLA to help build up that young defensive line. Dallas at 24. They need offensive line help, and I have to take it offensive lineman Tyler Guyton out of Oklahoma. Tyron Smith's going to probably be a free agent or retire. Tyler Smith has been okay, but you need to keep getting younger on that offensive line, and I think Tyler Guyton fits that niche/mold perfect. The Packers at 25. I'm going to give them cornerback Kalen King out of Penn State. Now, here's my explanation as to the reasoning behind them drafting Kalen King. Jair Alexander is one of the best corners in the NFL. We all know that. But they don't have any Eric Stokes. They need a third corner. And I think Kalen King can be that. And then you can have him and Eric Stokes rotate on the inside. One can play boundary corner, one can play in the slot. The Buccaneers at number 26. I'm going to mock them an offensive lineman, and it's going to be Kingsley Suamataia out of BYU. The Buccaneers do need help on the offensive line. Luke Goedeke has not been particularly good, and I don't know if I trust him. I like Cody Mock, but you need another tackle on the other side of Wirfs. It's either going to be, they're going to take an offensive lineman. Is it going to be first round? Maybe not. But here in this mock draft, I have them taking Kingsley Suamataia out of BYU. The Cardinals at number 27. They're going to take offensive lineman Patrick Paul out of Houston. I like this pick for them. They need to build up that offensive line to help Kyler Murray stay healthy. And I think Patrick Paul can slide in on the other side. At the other tackle spot, you have Paris Johnson Jr. at 1. And then you have Patrick Paul at the other tackle spot. The Bills at number 28. They're going to take wide receiver Xavier Legette out of South Carolina. They need somebody on the opposite side of Stephon Diggs. Gabe Davis is going to be a free agent. Khalil Shakir is probably going to step up and take that Gabe Davis role on, which is either being the slot receiver or the number 2. And I think Xavier Legette is going to be the pick here. The Chiefs at 29. They are also going to take a wide receiver, and it's going to be Troy Franklin out of Oregon. Now, they need somebody opposite Rashee Rice. I think Troy Franklin fits that perfectly. The Lions at number 30. They're going to take safety / cornerback Cooper DeJean out of Iowa. At 31, I have the 49ers taking offensive lineman Troy Fautanu out of Washington. They need an offensive lineman that they can develop and maybe plug and play and maybe guard until Trent Williams retires. And I think Fautanu can do that. He can play guard or tackle. And the Ravens at 32 are going to take wide receiver DeMontez Walker out of North Carolina. I know you may say this is a little bit of a reach, but I think if he grades out well at the combine and puts on a really good performance at the Senior Bowl, that he might sneak into the end of the first round. And now, what do I think the Bengals? Here's the Bengals offseason plans, in my opinion. One, I don't think you let T. Higgins. You don't let T. Higgins walk. You either give him the franchise tag, or you give him a long-term, like a 3-year deal with around the same money that Chris Godwin got with the Buccaneers. And then you draft a receiver, because if you re-sign Higgins, you might lose Jamar Chase. And I don't think you want to lose Jamar Chase. And then in the draft, I would draft a receiver, draft a defensive back, get some more O-line help to keep your quarterback, Joe Burrow, upright without getting hurt. And that's phase 1. Phase 2, let Burrow rehab throughout the offseason from the injury he had. And the last thing I forgot, re-sign Jake Browning. Jake Browning, he had some good games as a starter, but he proved that he can be a really good NFL quarterback. And I think that goes a long way. He could be the backup to Burrow, and if Burrow wants to get hurt again, he starts again. And he knows the offensive playbook. Don't let Browning go anywhere else. If you do, you might regret it. And then, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know, I have a Patreon account that I'm also live on right now, as well as Twitch and YouTube. It's completely free to join, unless you want the premium Patreon. The free Patreon and the premium, you get the same stuff. You get the lives like this. You get when I post stuff on there. So if you missed the stream, I will post the upset picks for college basketball on there and other stuff like my rankings, which I'm still working on for the NFL draft. And for the YouTube, if you're over on Twitch, come on over to YouTube and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We are trying to hit 3,000 subscribers by the end of February. We're halfway there. We're at 2,332. 2,232. We're trying to hit 3,000 subs by the end of February. If you're over on Twitch, come on over and hit the subscribe button. And if you're feeling like you want to be an entire part of the Talk Sports family / community, memberships are available as well. And you get some really good perks with the memberships. Like you get a meet and greet with me, you get first dibs on Fantasy Football League, Fantasy Baseball, which Fantasy Baseball League is open. We need, I think, 12 more people in the league in order to draft. And the draft will be at the end of the first part of March. So right before the season starts. I recommend joining that so you can compete against me in a fantasy league. But that'll do it for me today, ladies and gentlemen. I will see y'all tomorrow morning at 8:50 for the Talk Sports Show on YouTube, Twitch, and Patreon. But till the next video, I'm out. See you later. Peace.